trade with, and I believe that's where we are moving towards.
Okay. Mr. Kapoor, in fact, lawmakers in the United States continue to target India. They called us a laundromat for Russia, the Maharaja of tariffs. The condescending tone doesn't seem to be dying down. Nikki Haley, one of the prominent leaders, just said a couple of days ago that the bridge that the Americans have burnt with the Indians could take decades now to be reconstructed. The trust that India had on the relationship that both the countries in fact were able to forge in the last few years has been destroyed. If you remember the G20 summit, India and America and their chemistry was the talk of the world. Do you think that's way behind us, and that looks like something from a distant past, and India really needs to figure out quickly whom it wants to trade with and whom to say no to? Perhaps 10 years ago, India would have not been in a position to say no to the Americans, but today we are.
Right, Vineet. First thing I would like to start with is that when India is dealing with a leader like Donald Trump, we have to be very clear that we are dealing with a person who seems to be losing his mental balance time and again by way of his statements. I'll give 3 instances. Before he came to power, he said that I'll stop the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours the moment I come to power. Recently, a month ago, he says that Goldman Sachs chief economist should resign the moment he stated that the impact of the tariffs will be more on the people of United States rather than anyone else. Thirdly, a week ago, he said that Intel's chief should resign. And within 4 days, he says that he's doing a good job. So my point is that we need to be very cautious and careful when we are dealing with the United States in terms of how much we can take them on face value going forward. Having said that, I would also like to say that India needs to believe in itself that it is going to remain one of the top 3 growth engines of the world in next 2 decades. And here on, I would say that India needs to focus both on its strengths as well as weaknesses as such. And among them, I would say that the role of the government is very important in helping out the manufacturing sector out of the PLI scheme by expanding that PLI scheme, and so that it helps the MSME sector as well, and in making our products more competitive. And apart from that, I would also say that in terms of weaknesses, we have been witnessing that the private investment in our country is not growing in the manner it should. So it's very important that going forward, when we see that our share of export of services has already overtaken the share of export of manufacturing. So it's very important that we need to focus and work on the R&D as well as our workforce, which also happens to be our demographic dividend, they are utilized in a kind of manner where they are utilized to their full potential. And that is how I feel that we will be able to see that we will be able to counter the emerging challenges.